In this episode, I'll jump on my car, chop some more wood, and play around with this thing. Righto, welcome back. So this episode we're going to continue working on the workbench. So what I want to do is finish off the framing and get the bench top on. So I have been to Bunnings this morning and I've pretty much worked out the best way to go about a bench top for this is to just buy one of those pre-made things. So luckily they were on special for some reason, so I managed to pick up a hardwood bench top. It's all laminated, ready to go. I just need to chop it to the length that I want. And yeah, that was a heavy boy to get off the patrol, but got there in the end. So if you haven't already and you're new to the channel, make sure you've hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more episodes. But without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, I'm going to cut up a few more bits of framing pine, put another rail each side of these long runs, and then put my in-between pieces there. So I've got some more fixing for the bench top and to stop any flex in and out. So let's get into cutting these up. Righto, so the frame's done. So I flipped it over, done the same, put some more rails on the bottom. Only difference on the bottom is I've got a section where I've just laid the rails on flat because I want to lay the bottom sheet when I put the shelve in underneath a bit lower in this section, so I've got a bit more height out of the open section in the middle. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. So while I've got it upside down, what I'm going to do is put the small little screw-in legs on the middle legs, just so I've got a bit of extra strength when it's sitting there. I don't think I really need it as much as I thought I would because I've got this double rail now, but I'll just put it in there for a bit of extra security just in case I really want to heave on it. So yeah, I'll get those in and yeah, we'll start prepping for the bench. Right, so the way these work, it's pretty much just a thread on a foot, and I'm going to hammer in one of these, I don't even know what they're called, hammer in threads, something like that. It's just a thread with some teeth on it so I'll smash them in the leg here. So I'll drill a hole first, bang those in, and then I've got something to screw these legs into. So that's how I sort of work on that premise. Righto, so before I do any work on the bench top, screwing that on and all that sort of jazz, I'm actually going to wipe down all the timber, all the frame with some linseed oil. So I've given it all a quick sand just to make sure any sort of imperfections I've got out of it, any rough spots. And the reason why I'm doing this is mainly for the cedar. So it's a little bit prone to cracking, so I want to make sure that that doesn't happen. It's mainly in when it's used in exterior, but it's not going to be in the weather or anything, so I'm not too worried, but it's more just to be safe. And make the grain pop a bit more as well. So I'll lather up with this and then sort out the bench top. Alrighty, so she's all oiled up, and yeah, it doesn't look too bad if I don't say so myself. So now for the bench top. What I've got is a couple of these brackets that I'll put around the top of the frame here. So this will pretty much hold the bench down. Nothing too fancy, and if I do need to take it off, it's just a few screws that I can get to from underneath. So I'll bang these on, and I'll just keep them just slightly below the top of all the frame, just so it really pulls down on the bench top. And yeah, go from there. Righto, time to manhandle that bit of wood there, get it up here. So I'm just gonna lock the legs in so it doesn't move on me anymore. And yeah, I'll just slap it on top, and then I'll be able to cut off the length that I want. There you go, how's that? So the idea was to cut this down because I've got an opening on that side of the shelving and all that sort of stuff, and I wanted it to fit in there if I wanted to get it out of the way, but I kind of don't want to cut it now. Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Righto, I'm cutting it. I was trying to see if I maybe wanted to keep it longer, but honestly, 2 meter bench top I think is plenty, and I'll be able to use this offcut for something. I've got something planned in my head I think might work out a bit later, but yeah, I'm gonna cut it here. So I've set out this side. I've got a 40mm overhang on all the posts, so, and then I've got obviously that extra depth of the post itself, so I've got plenty of clamping space, the whole edge around the whole table. So yep, cutting it. Righto, so that luckily worked out without any hiccups, apart from the fact that I didn't set the blade deep enough and I had to go back over it twice, so I was a bit nervous there, but luckily worked out alright. So next I'm gonna need I've got to wait for the frame to dry a bit more. I actually got it a bit dusty. I might have to give that a bit of a wipe down again. So I'll let this dry overnight, then I'll come back I've got to sand this bench top. I'm going to fill a couple of the little holes that they don't really do when they make these things. And yeah, I've got to try work out exactly how I want to finish this. So I'm gonna have to pop it off again anyway, because you got to seal the whole lot or else you'll end up getting cupping and stuff, no matter how many screws you put in it. So yeah, be back in the morning. Righto, so the linseed oil's had a good chance to soak in overnight. All the cypress posts are pretty much sucked it dry. So I think after I'm finished doing all the finishing stuff, I might give it another coat just to let it soak in over a week or something, and then I'll rub it back later. But for now, it's good enough to work with, so I can get working on the bench and make a bit more dust. So overnight, I've just been doing a bit of research on what to actually finish the top with. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to use a wipe-on poly. So it's a oil-based polyurethane. And yeah, you pretty much just either brush it on, wipe it on, whatever, and then you just let it soak in. And yeah, you can rub it dry again or give it another coat. And yeah, I'll just sort of, I don't know, see how I go. I'll read the instructions properly. But from the research I've done, there's no real answer on what's the best sort of finish for a workbench. So I'm going to try this. If I don't like it, I can easily sand it back and try something else. So that's that. But before I do that, I need to flip it over, sand it, and I'll give it one coat of this just to seal the bottom. And then I can flip it back over. I'm going to putty up all the little, like there's a couple of little sap holes and little cracks and stuff that I'll fill in with some hardwood putty. Sand it all back, probably sand it a few times just so it's nice and smooth. I'll put a chamfer on the edge of the router, and yeah, then I'll be able to coat her up and she'll be pretty sweet, I'm hoping. So it's just a natural sort of finish, so yeah, that'll be good. So let's get into it. Righto, so first coat's on the base, it's all sanded up. Supposed to wait like 6 hours for this stuff to dry. I ain't waiting that long, so I went and had a cuppa, come back, it's sort of dry, but I'll just flip it over. I don't really care about the finish really. If it gets a little bit rubbed up from when I flip it over, I just really wanted it sealed. So flip it over, and now I can start working on the other side. Alrighty, so I've had to let it dry overnight and then some. So it must have been too cold last night for it to dry properly. But it is perfectly dry now. So what the product recommends is you give it a bit of a sand in between coats. So I'll give it a quick once over, just a bit of it, and then yeah, I'll give it another coat and let it soak in, and then that'll be done. So yeah, I think I might use, it says 240, use 240, but see if I've got something a bit lighter. 240 seems like it might be a bit too heavy, but yeah, so there we go. Righto, it's all sanded back now. And after I've sanded it, I kind of don't mind this look. So after I do this second coat, I'm gonna see if I prefer it glossy, or I might actually just buff it back to like this matte sort of finish. But yeah, we'll see how we go. I've got a bit of time to think about it while I build the rest of the stuff in the bench. So yeah, let's get this second coat on. Righto, there you go. So I thought I'd experiment with a different technique of actually putting on the product. I actually just used a bit of paper towel, and I feel like that worked way better than the brush. It just went on a lot smoother and it rubbed in a bit better. So I think this might actually dry a bit quicker too. So that's the go. Now, this is probably where I'm gonna have to leave it for this episode. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next one. And I'm gonna get stuck into fitting out the underside of the bench top, so that'll be good. So yeah, until then, keep having a crack. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.